Hi crafty friends, welcome back to Crafting with the Gringas. In today's video we're going to be doing another one of our binder clip pincushions, and for that we're going to need a piece of cardboard. I just have a piece of cereal box here, a pen or a pencil, some scissors. I'm going to be using a 2.5mm crochet hook and 2 different yarns of a similar weight. For today's video I've got a 3 weight right here. The first part we're going to be making our little barrier to keep our pins and such from getting down into the clip and getting our fingers. So just roughly as close as you can, make a circle like we did on the last video if you saw that. And if you haven't seen how to make the base, you can find that in part 1 and it's, I believe, titled what did we make with a binder clip or something like that. Okay, so you can just check that out and watch that first and have your binder clip all ready. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut this out and I'll meet you back. Okay, so mine is ready. Might be just a little too big. If you find that it's too big, you can just trim it down a little bit. I'm going to be making a flower, and so I did choose to put this white on the center. And so I'm going to grab that first, and I'm going to get my crochet hook. And we're going to be working into these little loops that we went leaving in the first tutorial to make the base of the pincushion. We can just loop our yarn on and we can pull that through. We can also let this fall and then we can also let that just sit out to the side so we can weave it in later. So in the next stitch we're going to make a single crochet. We're just going to make a single crochet all the way around. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going until I get back to the start. Okay, I'm back and I've gotten that last stitch done, and then I just have this little chain that we made at first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this little chain. We're going to go into that, but we're going to do back loops only. So we're going to do this whole round is going to be back loops only. We can put a stitch marker so we can see when we're back to the start. So that's my first stitch. Okay, and then we're just going to go all the way around in the back loop only, if you can see that. So we're going to just go back into that back strand and leave that front strand behind. I'm going to meet you back when I'm back at my stitch marker. Okay, so I'm back to my stitch marker, so I'm going to take that out. And so I'm going to do a single crochet into that next stitch, into the stitch that we had our stitch marker in. I am going to go through both strands of the stitch and make a single crochet. We can replace our stitch marker. I'm going to do 3 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then the next one I'm going to do a decrease. And you can do your decrease. An invisible decrease is what I'm going to be doing. But you can also do a normal decrease. So I'm going to get the first little loop, just the front loop, on the 2 stitches that I want to decrease with. pull up a loop through them, and then yarn over and make a single crochet. Then I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to do another 4 single crochets. And then another decrease. So that first loop, get that second loop, and pull our yarn up through both, and we can make a single crochet. I'm going to do 4 more and another decrease. That's what we're going to do until we get to the end. I know that you might, like, the counts might not line up just exactly because we didn't count, so I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to do it however, with it, whatever yarn or that you need. So if you have a couple stitches hanging out at the end, like 1 or 2 that you don't have the 4 or anything like that, don't worry about it. It's not going to matter for this pattern. We can just keep working with that. Okay, so I will meet you back when you're to the corner. So we're going to do 4 single crochets, a decrease, 4 single crochets, and a decrease. Okay, I'm back and I'm finished with this row. Before we decrease anymore, we're going to want to put our cardboard in there, the little barrier that's going to keep our pins and needles from poking through and getting lost in the part that we have the clip. We can remove our stitch marker, and now we're going to do single crochet 3. So 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to put my stitch marker in that first one that we did, and then we're going to do another decrease. Okay, 3 single crochets, and a decrease. So I'm going to meet you back when you've got your 3 single crochets and your last decrease done. I'm back to my stitch marker, so I'm going to take that out, and I'm sure you've guessed it, in this next one we're going to do 2 single crochets, replace our stitch marker, and a decrease. 2 single crochets, and a decrease. I'll meet you back when I'm here at my stitch marker again. Okay, I'm back at my stitch marker again, so I'm going to remove that. Before I start on the next round, I'm going to add some stuffing before that gets too hard to stuff. As you can see, this one's going to be very much of a smaller pincushion compared to our cactus. So I think I've got mine stuffed pretty well. We'll see if it doesn't need just a little bit more stuffing in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to use my finger to kind of hold that stuffing away from my stitch. I'm going to do a single crochet in this round. We can replace the stitch marker. And then a decrease. A single crochet, and then a decrease. Okay, so I'm going to do that till I get back to the stitch marker, and I'll see you there. Okay, I'm back to my stitch marker. And at this point, I'm going to cut my yarn, leaving enough to weave in and fasten and secure the circle that we'll be making. Okay, so I'm just gonna again take the front loop of all of the stitches, and just get back to the start, and then I'm just pull that tight. Okay, so that little center there. Now I'm gonna just weave in with short intentional stitches to make sure that we're not seeing the stitches that we're making. You just want to blend your stitches within the stitches that are already there. Okay, I think mine should be good. So I'm going to cut my yarn. Okay, so we're going to insert our hook into one of those front loops that we left. And we can pull our yarn up through there. And we can chain one holding that both strands of yarn, and then we can drop it. We can drop our tail. Okay, so we've got one chain, and then we're going to chain 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for a total of 7. Single crochet, and the next stitch a half double crochet. And then the rest of the way down, we're going to be doing double crochets. Hi, baby. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna slip stitch into the next stitch over, pull that tight, and then we're gonna slip stitch again into the next stitch, and then we're gonna chain we're gonna chain 7. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then again, we're going to do a single crochet on the first stitch. The second stitch is going to be a half double crochet, and the rest of the stitches are going to be double crochets. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next. Okay, so we slip stitch into one, and then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch as well. So 2 slip stitches together, one in one stitch and then one in the next, and then we'll chain another 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the same, we're going to do a single crochet into the first stitch, a half double crochet into the next, and then double crochets the rest of the way down. Okay, and then just like before, in this first stitch on the side, we're going to get a slip stitch, then we're going to slip stitch into that next stitch as well, and from here we're going to chain another 7. So we're going to do that all the way around until we get to the other side, and I will meet you back here at the other side. Okay, I'm all the way to my end and I've got my last petal done. So I'm going to slip stitch into the next one. And to finish off, I'm just going to slip stitch into that very first one. Then now what we can do is cut our yarn. And we can just weave in our ends. So I'm just going to bring that down, and then these two I can just tie together. Then I'm just going to tuck them away as close to the project as I can. And I can just bring it, I'm just going to bring it all the way over to the other side and out. I'm going to do the same with the other tail. Just out the other side. And we can cut those off. And we can also, this one we're going to want to weave in really well because it's where we, that little part that we started, and it just can come undone. So I'm just going to weave that in right here underneath the petals where I have white. Just make sure that it gets woven in very, very well. And you can go forward a little bit. And then you can go back as well, just to keep that secure. And then that I'm also just going to thread it through to the other side, and then we can cut off any excess from that. Just our little, the rest of our yarn tail. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to give it a little fluff, and we've got ourselves another little cute little pincushion. Like I said, this one's just a little bit smaller, but it does work well for pins and anything like that. The benefit of a smaller one is that they're not going to get lost in the pincushion as easy. Like this one, if I push that down in, it's going to get lost completely. So you just have to watch out for that. This one, you can't push it all the way in, so it'll be perfect as well. Just depends. And you can make these in any color you want. Have fun with it and make it yours. Make it look cute in your craft space. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.